So I take this opportunity to welcome you for this particular topic. This topic 4, listening skills, which is a topic in a unit, particular unit called communication and writing skills. My name is David Maina, and we are going to ask ourselves various things, and we are going to ensure that at the end of the lesson, we know how to be listeners. At the end of the lesson, we'll know what is listening. At the end of the lesson, we'll know the principles of good listener, and so on and so forth. So, one thing you must understand is that communication is a process. If communication is a process, there are some processes that are involved in communication. For example, when you are listening, it takes a process. And if that process is not complete, the response is going to be very negative. The response is going to be something that I did not expect or the other person did not expect. So listening being a process, it should be taken seriously. Sometimes we respond to messages and we have not listened clearly. When we started the class, I asked the student, "Can you hear me?" The student is saying present. The student did not take time to listen clearly. Listening is a process. And this process has 4 main stages. Number 1 is receiving messages. Number 2 is attending to those messages. Number 3 is assigning meaning to those messages. Number 4 is remembering them. An ideal listening situation, all these stages will be completed. If listening is ineffective, however, the process might break down at any stage. You have heard you ask somebody, "Where were you?" And then that person tells you, "I'm eating." That simply means they did not do what? There was a breakdown in one of the 4 main stages of listening. Either they did not assign meaning to the message, either they did not attend to the message, or they did not remember your question. So there is a breakdown somewhere. That's why you are getting an answer to a very different answer to the question you had raised. So we start with stage number 1. I've said that listening follows 4 main stages. Stage number 1 is what we call receiving messages. In any one day, we receive more messages than we need or can process. For example, when you woke up early in the morning, probably you heard the neighbors' radio tuned in to a certain radio station. Our songs that were playing along the corridor, somebody was shouting, "In my shoes, where are you going? Come here." When you went to board a matatu, the tout was shouting, "Down 30 bob," or "Thika Road, 50 shillings. When you are in the matatu, you are seated with someone who was having a conversation with tout. Some people were very happy there. They were making a lot of noise. They were very happy to meet each other for the first time, or to put one matatu or a bus. There were so many things. As we speak right now, you have received a lot of messages. But now, not every message you pay attention to. Don't pay attention to so many things, to so many things that are happening to you. Don't pay attention to every message that is thrown on the air or that is spoken by people. You don't pay attention to them. That is one thing. We talk about listening, we receive the messages. And we don't receive all the messages. Don't attend to them. Don't pay attention to everything that is happening around you. Now, messages can come from commercials, that is adverts. You can hear someone shouting along the corridor. You can be able to get the lecturer's conversation with a friend, so on and so forth. So we hear many of these messages, but we don't listen to all of them. Listening and hearing are totally different things. You can listen to something. You can listen, you can hear something. That does not mean you are listening. For example, you can hear building collapse. That does not mean you are listening to that building collapsing. You can hear someone shouting. It doesn't mean that you are paying attention to the shout. So when you talk about hearing and listening, they are different. Listening is when you pay attention. You internalize the message. Some of us here in this particular class, you are listening to me. You are paying attention. What is happening? Paying attention, what is happening. Now, hearing is a mechanical process involving various parts of the ear, while listening is a more composite perceptual process. It involves our total response to others, the spoken word being just part of what we respond to. Therefore, receiving messages does not receiving messages alone does not mean that you are here, you are listening. Messages comes in all forms from a variety of sources. For example, when we listen, we filter out irrelevant messages. Example, maybe you woke up early in the morning along the corridor, or when you are about to get out from get out and go to work or to go to school, you are able to listen to certain music that was being played nearby your neighbor. So you are paying attention to that music. It's music by Celine Dion, Guardian Angel, or so and so. So you are paying attention to that music. Now, paying attention to that means that you are listening to that music. And though there may be other activities that are happening around you, and though there may be people shouting along the corridors. Stage number 2, it's attending. After receiving, you attend. Attending means what? We are able to focus our attention on a particular stimuli. For example, if you are in a dorm in the early evening, you hear all kinds of noises. Students are shouting to each other, music is playing, doors are being shut and opened. However, when your CD rolls, when somebody tunes into a channel that you like, sings, has a song that is playing a song, your favorite song, the song brought out all other sounds around you, and you pay attention to that song. That means that you are attending to that song. Even if someone is calling you, your attention is not there, but your attention is on the song that is being played by your neighbor. That is called attending. Once we finish that particular step, we go to assigning meaning. So what is assigning meaning? When you decide to attend to a message, our next step is to assign a meaning. For example, I am teaching you right now. You can assign a meaning what I am teaching you. You can assign a meaning by relating what you know. Maybe I'm talking to a friend, to someone who does that regularly. So you can assign a meaning what we already know, what you already do, what you have experienced before. That is, you are assigning a meaning to that. Why are you assigning a meaning to that? So that you will not forget. For the purposes of exams and everything, we try as much as possible assign meaning to the to the teachings or to the lessons that we learn. So that when you assign meaning, it will be difficult for you to forget. And this involves what? It involves assimilating the message, making it part of our knowledge and experience. For example, when you are talking about today you woke up early in the morning, somebody can imagine himself or herself waking up early in the morning, taking a shower, then going to the stage to board a matatu. Then the makanga was shouting. Then you boarded whatever matatu you boarded because it was to your standard. Then where you were seated, there were these friends that were making noise. There was a song that was singing, that was playing in the background, and you are assigning meaning. Assigning meaning is trying to make it part of our knowledge and experience. And we must decide in the whether the message is relevant and how it relates to what we already know. Basically, then the process of assigning meaning is one of selecting material and trying to relate it to our experience. So when you are being taught, even in church, when you go to church, when the pastor is speaking to you or is giving a sermon, you tend to assign whatever he's telling you a meaning in your life. Has it ever happened to you? Does it always happen to you? Then you say, okay, it happens to me. So the pastor is talking about me. He's talking about things that happened in my life. And when he's talking, when you relate to it, to what happens in your life, it becomes very difficult to forget. So if you can meet somebody along the way after a service and asks you, what were you taught in church? You can easily tell them, we were taught like this. This is what we were told. The pastor read from this book and he gave example A, B, C, D, because you have already assigned meaning and you have already related to what is happening to you. Then the last thing is remembering. The reason why you are assigning meaning is for the sake of remembering. Smart people, they assign meaning to a message. For example, when you go to class, you assign meaning to what you are being told. It becomes very easy to remember. And that's why you find that some students, they read a lot. But when it comes to exam, they cannot remember anything. They are just reading to pass time and to show others that I am reading. But there are people, they are not smart. We cannot say that they are genius. They know how to read. That when they read a paragraph, they assign it a meaning. Once they assign it a meaning, it simply means that they will not forget that one. And that's why, for example, in high school, those who went to high school, there were what we call the books that we are reading, the literature books. You remember, there was that one for short stories. Then there were literature books, a play, and a literature book that we used to read. And you'd find that there is a play taking place somewhere. And we used to pay. So you pay and you go to a theater somewhere, you watch the book being actualized. Now, why were they doing it like that? So that you can remember, you can assign meaning to the words that you read in the book. And the reason is to remember, so that when they tell you who said these words, you can be able to say XYZ is the one who said these words. So according to the play, XYZ, maybe he was called Zombo. Zombo was the one that said those words. So that is for the purposes of what? Of remembering. So this is the final step in the process of listening. So remembering is a selective process of determining what is important and what is not important. As a student, few of you record the whole of instructors' lectures. Instead, you take notes that helps you to remember. Like I started by saying, make sure you make notes, because notes will help you to remember what you are taught. That's what we are saying. So for effective listening to take place, all these stages we have talked about let me go back. Stage number 1, we have talked about receiving the message. Stage number 2, we have talked about attending to the message. Like from the picture above, you can see they are attending to the message. They are paying attention. This particular picture, they are paying attention. Number 2, assigning a meaning. Trying to relate what is being told with your real life experience. And thirdly, remembering. All these stages must be put in place for the listening process to be complete. Listening skills. What is listening skills? For listening skills is the ability to accurately receive these words. Number 1, accurately. Listening is the ability accurately, not only receiving, but accurately receiving and interpreting that message in the communication process. For example, if I ask you, what is your name? You'd be able to tell me, my name is David Maina. You should not be telling me, I'm asking you, what is your name? And then you're telling me, I come from Nairobi County. I'm asking you, what is your name? I come from Nairobi County. That means did not receive my message accurately. You did not interpret my message properly. So listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. Now, listening is key to all effective communication. If you cannot listen, you are going to find yourself in conflict with people. If you don't listen, you're going to find yourself in conflict with people. And without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. If you cannot listen effectively, you will messages are easily misunderstood. So a good listener will listen not only to what is being said, so you are only going to listen to what is being said, but also to what is left unsaid. Now here we are talking about meta messages. Here we are talking about meta messages. Meta messages is, for example, I can say something and I leave other things. But the tone of voice that I have used actually tells you that this one is serious, or tells you that one was a joke, or tells you that I need to do something. Meta messages is anything that you hear apart from what you are being told. Example, I gave an example before. If a lecturer takes time, tells in a topic, takes a lot of time in a certain topic, It takes 5 hours teaching you a certain topic. It takes 2 lessons, 3 lessons teaching you topic 1 of your course. When you're preparing for exam, you may say, let me read this topic 1, because from the way the lecturer insisted and took time explaining concepts in that particular lesson or topic, I think much of the questions are coming from this topic. See, that is a meta message. You are able to listen what is being said and what to above, to what is being said and actually to more than what was being said. You are able to read between the lines. That is listening. Listening is the ability to accurately receive, interpret messages in the communication process. If someone asks you what is listening, you must be able to tell them to actively receive message. And after receiving those messages, to interpret it correctly, the communication process. Now, what are some of the principles of good listening? For you to be a good listener, because I know people are not good listeners. Majority of people that we teach and the people we relate with are not good listeners. Someone is talking, principle number 1, stop talking. Give that person time to speak. Because we cannot talk, all of us, and listen to one another, all of us. One person at a time. Don't talk when someone is talking. So when somebody else is talking, listen to what they are saying. Do not interrupt them. Do not interrupt people when they are talking. People talk differently. There are people who will take time explaining something, beat around the bush before they get to the point. Stop telling them, and you say it quickly. When a customer visits your company, maybe he wants to buy a certain, maybe he needs your services, certain service, or he wants to buy a certain product. Don't tell that customer, and that customer may start by saying, giving story how he attended his son's wedding, or how he attended her son's wedding. Tells you the kind of gifts that were brought. Don't interrupt that customer. Let him give you all the stories. Pay attention to that story. Because there are people who don't get right to the point. They have to beat around the bush. Don't talk over them. Don't finish their sentences for them. People are very good at finishing people's sentence. I was going, and you say to the shop, not to the shop, to the garage. And when I got to the garage, I met this, you say, pastor or young man. No, stop finishing sentences for people. Give them time, listen to them, So, sorry for that. We are saying don't finish statements for these people who are talking. Just allow them, give them time. Then give you all the stories in the whole world. And at the end of the day, we'll tell you what they have come. Another person has been talking. You may need to clarify, ensure that you have received the message correctly. If a person has finished talking, ask them, do you say that this is what was happening? And they clarify and say, yes. Do you say it was at 10:30 a.m.? Then they say, no, it was at 11 a.m., at 11 a.m. Clarify the point once they are done speaking. Don't interrupt them. People feel so much offended when you interrupt them and they are talking. It's a sign of disrespect. It's a sign that you don't care about what they are telling you. The next point, prepare yourself to listen. Prepare yourself to listen. How do you prepare yourself to listen? Just relax. Focus on the speaker. Maintain eye contact. Show nonverbal cues that you understand and that you can relate. Nonverbal cues is like nod your head, shake your head. Somebody is telling you, imagine a whole me being told to sit on the floor. And you can show you can show with your facial expression. What do you mean? See, relax, focus on the speaker, put other things out of mind. Don't have a lot of things in your mind. Example, when you have gone to meet maybe your lecturer, their staff in their offices, you are supposed to put other things, or the lecturer himself is supposed to put other things in his mind and focus on what you are saying. Pay attention to them. And then when you pay attention to them, you're actually showing them that you respect them, you respect how they feel. That's why I like the ladies, because ladies, they like attention. If you cannot pay attention to what they do, to what they are telling you, and they don't like you at all, they know that you are I don't care and you don't care about their feelings and what they are going through. So paying attention is very important. The human mind is easily distracted by other thoughts. For example, you may ask yourself, what is for lunch? What am I going to take for lunch? What do I need to leave, catch my train? That kind of questions. I left my car door opened, or did I leave my car door open or closed? That time, maybe I'm speaking to a student, or maybe that time a student is speaking to me. I started imagining that I did not close my car door. Then I will not listen to the student. I will just wait for him to finish what he's saying. Then I will say, we will talk, of which might not even. So prepare yourself to listen, sit down, relax, focus on the speaker. Next thing, put the speaker at ease. Put the speaker at ease. Putting the speaker at ease, you are being told, help the speaker to feel free to speak. There are people who cannot help the speaker to feel free to speak. Remember their needs and concerns. Nod or use other gestures or words to encourage them to continue. So for example, I don't know that you have met ladies speaking. They pay attention to details. You can meet like 2, 3 ladies speaking. They pay attention to details. Who listen. Who put the speaker at ease. Sometimes they will tell him, then what happened? The lady will continue narrating the story. And after that, you met another guy. What did he say to you? He saw you like that. You will be like that. Putting the speaker at ease. And they will laugh. They will sympathize with the speaker where need be. So on and so forth. So Make sure that you put the speaker at ease. Nod your head if you need to. Shake your head if you need to. Show them that you relate with what they are saying, and so on and so forth. Maintain eye contact, but do not stare. To maintain eye contact does not mean that you stare. Staring is drooling. You have seen a beautiful lady passing. You are just drooling at that lady. That is staring. Maintaining eye contact is looking at the person directly in the eyes. Do not stare. Show that you are listening and understanding what the speaker is saying. Point number 4, principles number 4 is remove distractions. Remove distractions, we are saying, if you have a phone that is on, other people are calling you for business, switch it off. If you have, maybe for example, somebody asking you, let's go for lunch, and you are listening to someone, you are paying attention to a speaker, don't listen to them. So remove distractions that may distract you. So focus on what is being said, don't doodle, don't shuffle papers, don't look out the window, don't pick your fingernails. Sometimes you find people even biting their fingernails. Avoid unnecessary interruptions that you can focus on what the speaker is saying. Next point, emphasize. Emphasize. Emphasize to try to understand the speaker's point of view. Try to put yourself in the speaker's shoe, in short. The speaker is telling you, I boarded a matatu, I was going to Kawangware. There was a story I was given. Some people boarded a matatu. I think they were going to Kawangware. So I was listening to this person giving me the story, and the person told me, we boarded a matatu from town, and we were going this particular location. And then when we boarded the matatu, some thugs also boarded the matatu. And almost everybody in the matatu had a partner who was a thug, and were telling them to remove even their shoes, including their trouser. If they see that you're putting on a nice trouser, they tell you remove your trouser. Same case was happening to the driver, the co-driver. The matatu was full of bags. So they carried everything. If you have a nice watch, have a nice telephone, mobile phone, they picked and they left people naked. So what they left you with was the inner, like for example, underwears. That is what they left you with. So what happened is that these people were told to go to the nearby police station because nobody had a mobile phone. And now the people who were in the matatu were given that mobile phone to call their relatives to tell them of what has happened, so that they can bring clothes for them to put on, because you could not get out. So that's what happened. So I was able to follow the story, and I was able to empathize with that particular speaker. It was a very interesting story concerning how they were conned, how their clothes were stolen, including the driver and the co-driver. So it was very funny. So by having an open mind, we can more fully empathize with the speaker. If the speaker says something that you disagree with them, wait until they finish speaking. Then you tell them, that one, I disagree with you. How did you walk from the matatu naked to go and use the police mobile phone? Then they explain, they say, this is what happened. So empathize, put yourself in the shoes of the speaker, try to understand them from their point of view. Not your own point of view, but from their point of view. The next point, be patient. Patience is a virtue. A pause, even a long pause, does not necessarily mean that the speaker has finished. People who are very quick to speak. For example, I usually put a long pause. I'm speaking. When I put a long pause, you might mistake that I am done speaking. So there are people who put short pauses. That does not mean they have finished speaking. Very good example, a good way that you can tell whether they have finished speaking. You can ask them, have you finished speaking? Can I speak? So be patient and let the speaker continue in their own time. Sometimes it takes time to formulate what to say and how to say it. Never interrupt or finish sentences for anyone. Don't interrupt. It's good to confirm from them. Are you done speaking? Can I say something? Something like that. Principle number 7, avoid personal prejudice. Personal prejudice is trying to judge people. When you try to judge people even before they speak, that means you will not listen to them. When I heard somebody saying, people from a certain tribe don't make good leaders. I don't pay attention to them. Doesn't mean that it is everybody. Now that he has some experiences with two or three people, now this person thinks that people from a certain tribe cannot be leaders. This one is very wrong. That means what? Someone is brought in their company as a leader from that tribe. Actually is a leader, this person will not accept, not be able to listen to this person. Because in his mind, he knows people from that tribe are not leaders. People from that tribe, they are thieves. Should not employ them in the company. People from that tribe, they are witchcraft. They are witches and wizards. Those ones should not be employed in this company. Not everybody from that tribe is what you think. That one is what we call personal prejudice. Try to be impartial, don't become irritated, and don't let the person's habit or mannerism distract you from what they are really saying. Why? Because everybody has different ways of speaking. For example, people who are more nervous, people who are nervous, people who are shy than others. There are people, sometimes when you talk to them, it takes time before they respond. It takes time before they do what we call internalize your message and do what we call respond to you. So avoid personal prejudice. Don't say this one is shy, this one is that. This one not speak well, this one is just waste of time, and so on and so forth. Principles of listening number 8. Listen to the tone. Listen to the volume, listen to the tone. Because volume and tone add to what someone is saying. For example, you can tell that a matter is serious the way it is said. You can tell whether a matter is not serious, the tone that has been used and the volume that has been used. A good speaker will use both volume and tone to their advantage. Keep an audience attentive. For example, if you speak in a low voice and you are in a very big hall, people will not be attentive. You will hear backbenchers, they are even eating snacks there. They're not listening to you. But if you can use necessary volume and tone, that people can hear you from the room, and you are going to keep them attentive. Everybody will use pitch, tone, and volume of voice in certain situations. These situations will help you understand the emphasis of what is being said. For example, if you find that a certain volume and tone has been used, especially when the teacher is emphasizing on cards and assignment, know that that one is serious, or that one is not that serious, something like that. Principle number 9, listen for ideas, just one. You need to get the whole picture, not just isolated bits and pieces. Don't listen to what the words that are being said. Also listen to ideas that are being proposed that particular communication. Principle number 10, wait and watch for nonverbals. Wait and watch for nonverbals. Here we are saying communication gestures, facial expressions, and eye movements can all be important. So we don't just listen with our ears, we also listen with our eyes. Watch and pick up the additional information being transmitted via verbal and nonverbal communication. So you wait and watch for nonverbal communication. At that point, move to the next thing. This one is what we call barriers to effective listening. Barriers are things that interferes with our listening. Various barriers that can interfere with our listening. One of them is distraction. Distractions can be physical. For example, if there is what we call a construction that is happening in your neighborhood. For example, if there are cars that are hooting, vehicles hooting. For example, there is a person who is washing dishes and there is a lot of noise coming from the kitchen. Those ones we call them physical distractions. You can also have mental distractions. You are in class, but you are thinking what you are going to eat for lunch. Those are mental distractions. Auditory. You have a problem with your hearing. Hearing what? You are hearing, eh? Or you have a problem with your eyes. Because it can also form what we call distractions. Excessive attachment to personal beliefs and values. For example, you'll find a person from a certain culture. He's so much attached to their culture. But even if you tell them the point, the truth, to dismiss the truth. Like Christians, sometimes some Christians, not all of them, if you tell them something about their church, about actually their church, are so much attached to that church, they can even fight you concerning it. So much attached that even when you're trying to show them the point, they can't see the point. They cannot even want, they don't even want to listen. Some will tell you, if you are telling me about my church, I will not listen to you. Sometimes when a lady wants to go and when a man wants to marry a lady and you have gone, your parents, you have told your parents, then your parents asks you, this lady comes from which part of the country? Maybe you come from Central, the lady comes from Nyanza. Then the parents are shocked. You have gotten a wife from Nyanza. Her name maybe, for example, is Achieng. The next time you are going to tell them about Achieng, they tell you, if you are telling us about Achieng, we will not listen to you because of excessive attachment to personal beliefs and values. The beliefs of the Luo to the beliefs of the Kikuyu and so on and so forth. Faking attention, number 3. Person who is faking attention is just hearing. People who are very good at faking attention. They pretend to be hearing, be listening. They even nod their heads. They are just faking attention. Very good group of people who fake attention. Ladies, they are good in this. Ladies are good in faking attention. But not listening. The person acting as if or he is listening, acting as if they are listening. That one is another barrier to effective listening. That's a very bad habit. Emotions. Emotions erect barriers to effective communication. Our listeners' senses are not likely to be functioning at their optimum level. For example, when you are angry, you tend not to listen to anyone. Even when you are so happy, you tend not to pay attention to some things. Somebody can abuse you when you are very extremely happy. He can call you a name indirectly, and you will not know. You come to realize later that this person alinitukana. For example, maybe you have gotten distinctions in all your work, in all the unit, the course that you are doing. So you are being given a certificate because you have excelled extremely well. And you may hear somebody comment negatively and say, "Sisi wengine ni wajinga, all of us are stupid. He's the brightest in our class." You may not get that joke, but you will, because you are very happy, you may not get it. You only get it when you are at your normal what? Normal circumstance or normal level, or when, for example, everything is normal. You are not happy, you are not angry, you are just normal. So when you are angry, you may not listen to people. When you are happy, sometimes you may not even be able to listen to people. When you are also emotional. Example, God forbid you have lost your loved one, and someone is trying to advise you, to encourage you. You may not listen to them. You may not even know what they are saying. So emotions makes you not to pay attention, to be a barrier to effective listening. Noise is another thing. Noise is any unwanted sound. It's a greater impediment to clear communication. It is impossible to listen in a noisy environment. It goes without saying, and it becomes a frustrating experience for both the speaker and the listener. Fear is another thing. When you fear, you are under fear, don't pay attention. This is when sometimes you find that people take advantage when you are under fear. It's a con man conning you. Example tells you, like the fake prophets, the way they tell you, they prophesy to you. They tell you that as we speak right now, God is showing me that you will die in the next 3 days. So you start to fear. They tell you, want you to give me 1 million so that we can do some sacrifices here and there. That curse will be out of the way. You see, you are not listening to this person. You know that he's actually con artist. Fear sometimes makes us not to listen. Another barrier to effective listening is trying to listen to more than one conversation at a time. John is speaking here, Roge is speaking here, and so we are saying, trying to listen to more than one conversation. Example, John is speaking here, Roge is speaking here, Wangari is speaking here. And you are in the middle, trying to listen to all of them at the same time. That way, the barrier to effective listening. Lack of interest. You are not interested. Somebody is coming to tell you a story concerning today's lesson. Then you tell them, I'm not interested. I'm not interested at all. I have my own problems. So lack of interest is a barrier to effective listening. Lack of focus. Not focusing and being easily distracted, fiddling your hair, fingers, a pen, etc., or gazing out of the window, or focusing on objects other than the speaker. That one is lack of focus. That one is a barrier to effective listening. Barrier to effective listening, number 10, having a closed mind. Having a closed mind is trying to tell us, in short, we can say, huwezi niambia kitu. You can't tell me anything. I cannot believe you. That is having a closed mind. And most of the time, we take our opinion as the correct opinion. Our beliefs, our opinion, correct. If anybody comes to tell you something contrary to your opinion, to your beliefs, you don't listen to them. You don't want to listen to them. That is having a closed mind. Even when they are giving you fact, point, you don't want to listen to them. In summary, the key to effective listening is interpersonal skills. The key to effective listening and interpersonal skills, more generally, is the ability to have a truly open mind, understand why others think about things differently to you, and use information to gain a better understanding of the speaker. Now, this is the summary. The listening process, there is something that I wanted us to look at. We have looked at the 10 principles of effective listening. Then we have looked at barriers to effective listening. And I think, how do you listen more effectively? How do you listen more effectively? Listen more effectively by preparing yourself to listen. By listening the main idea. You listen for supporting details, then recognize the context too, then take notes. For you to be a good listener, you must also be able to do what? Take notes. Take notes. That's why I keep on insisting. When you join the class, take notes, because it shows that you are an effective listener. Having said that, I've come to the end of the class. Unless there is any question, unless there is any issue, question or issue. If there is no question, I call it a day. If there is no question, I call it a day.